The parachute Adams is a traditional fly pattern, and commonly one of the first parachute patterns learned by new fly tyers. It is very effective due to how low it rides in the water, giving it a great profile. Here I've made a couple of alterations, but overall this is very similar to the original. Begin the fly just behind the eye of the hook, and lay down a thread base ending around the hook point. Then bring your thread back forward, ending about 1/4 of the shank from the eye. In this video, I wish to show you the traditional method of using calf tail or calf body hair to create the post. Usually, just enough hair to fill in the hook gap is about the right amount for the post. Use a hair stacker to align the calf fibers. Tap your hair stacker a few times. If when you go to pull the calf out of the stacker, the tips aren't aligned, then just repeat this until they are. Hold the stacker so the tips of the calf are facing the eye. Pinch them between your fingers and remove them from the stacker. If you have any loose fibers, you can remove them by flicking them gently with your finger. Gently transfer the hair into your other hand and measure about 1 shank in length. Tie in the hair where you measured at the spot where you left your thread. Place a few turns of thread over the hair while pinching it between your fingers the entire time to prevent it from rolling. After about 3 or 4 wraps, you can let go of your thread and gently pick up the butts of the hair. Cut the hair at a taper, leaving it a little shorter than the shank. Place your finger on the far side of the hook to prevent the hair from rolling. Wrap down the tapered hair and take a few turns on the bare hook, then wrap back up to where you tied in the hair. Bend the hair at 90 degrees so that it is pointing straight up, then create a fairly large thread dam in front of the hair to hold it at that 90-degree angle. Once you have a big enough thread dam to prop it straight up, begin taking wraps around the hair to create a post. Take several turns around the post, then place a few around the hook. Put your finger back into position and pull the thread tight. Repeat this until you have a post that is sturdy. Once your post is secure, move the thread back to about the barb of the hook. One variation that I make from the original is the tail. Rather than using Hackle for the tail, I'm going to use moose mane. Cut around 6 to 8 moose fibers and place them into your stacker. Moose is typically quite long, and this can make it difficult to stack. To make it easier, cut the moose at the top of the hair stacker, then give it a couple of taps. Pull the moose out of the stacker and measure about a shank in length for the tail. Wrap the fibers up the hook a little ways and cut them so the moose and the calf form a relatively even taper. Move the thread back to about the barb of the hook. Create a small dubbing noodle out of fine dry fly dubbing. You really don't need very much, since tying in the hair created the taper for us. We really only want to cover up the underbody with dubbing. Begin wrapping the dubbing forward so that it evenly covers the underbody and end to just behind the post. Traditionally, the fly is tied with a grizzly and a brown hackle feather. To simplify the process, I like to use a dark barred ginger hackle feather. Strip the bottom portion of the hackle stem and tie it in front of the post. Bend the stem and take several wraps up the post, ending where the thread stops. Once the hackle is secure, move your thread back in front of the post. Create another small dubbing noodle and fill in the space between the eye and the post. It is very important that you end with the thread behind the post. Like all feathers, hackle has a light side and a dark side. We want to make sure the dark side of the hackle is facing up when wrapping it around the post. This will help the barbs to bend down and engage the water. Begin wrapping around the top of the thread and take several wraps of hackle until you are at the base of the post. To tie off the hackle, wrap the thread around the base of the post. The first wrap should be placed between the parachute and the body, but over the stem of the hackle. Pull the stem up and place a second wrap under the parachute and the stem, then place one more wrap over the stem. This will pinch the stem into place and prevent it from sliding out. A small dab of head cement can be applied here, though if tied tightly enough, the parachute will stay intact. Cut off the stem close to the post. Trim out any hackle fibers that were caught by the thread. Create a small dubbing noodle just long enough to get us to the eye of the hook. Using your other hand, pull the fibers out of the way and move your thread up to the eye. Prepare your whip finisher, and once you are ready, pull the hackle out of the way again and whip finish at the eye. Cut your thread free and push the hackle back into place. The parachute Adams may be an old pattern, but it is still very effective, and by switching out the colors, it can easily be used to imitate a variety of mayflies. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing for more videos like it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I try to reply to all of them. Thanks for watching, and tight lines.